on all my streams, and I am I'm super excited about the game. It's a Super Bowl that I think, if you're a football fan, you're excited about because it's something new, it's something different. It's not the Kansas City Chiefs. It's almost like, when the Patriots were that dynasty, everybody got tired of seeing the Patriots in the Super Bowl every year. And then it became the Chiefs, and then now the Chiefs are that team that everybody's just kind of sick of, sick of seeing in a Super Bowl. And now we get two brand new teams. Now, yes, it's a repeat of the Super Bowl from a number of years ago, but still, like, it's awesome and it's a great story. You can't beat this story of these two great quarterbacks. You've got the young kid, right, in Drake May, who he's the second youngest quarterback to start a Super Bowl since Dan Marino did it. Okay, and then you've got Sam Darnold, who is this guy that is a journeyman, right? Came out of college, and was the top pick, right? Everybody thought this guy was going to be great. He goes to the Jets, and it just did not go well at all. And then he goes to Minnesota, has a breakout year, and now he gets picked up in Seattle. It's his team, and he's led them to a Super Bowl. Awesome. By the way, I just posted. I also run QB Grip on my other channel on Instagram, and on YouTube, and I just posted our latest 10 things you didn't know about a quarterback, and we released our episode for Sam Darnold. So there's 10 things you didn't know about Sam Darnold. I just posted that on my other YouTube channel for QB Grip. So if you're interested, go check that out. Just posted it today. But let's get back and talk about some hostage tape. Again, if anybody's got any questions, feel free to put any questions in the chat, and I will I'll do my best to answer them. I've got a bunch of different channels going on here, so hopefully I can catch them all. But I'm going to go through some different things here. So I got a list of topics that I'll proactively talk about. All right, so my topic number one is a trend takedown. My hot take on an industry trend. Ooh, okay, so let's talk about health trends because certainly I'm in the business of selling a pretty hot, controversial health trend that is mouth taping. So let's talk about how about we talk about red light? So, red light therapy is one of those things that people have seen it. We've seen it for a while. It's been out there. And I actually have been doing red light therapy for the last like 4 years. I've got this giant, you can't see it, but down over here on the floor, I've got this giant, like 3 foot tall, about a foot wide red light. And in the morning when I get up and I do my morning routine, I'm usually up at 5:30 every day, and I come down to my office and I'll sit on the floor and I'll do my stretches. And as I start my stretches on the floor, I take the red light and I put the red light in front of my face so it's pretty close. So I've got the red light going on my face, I've got it going on my chest, and then I'm also looking into the red light because there's some really interesting um, information coming out about how red light therapy can actually help improve your eyesight. Now, the irony of that is I come from a an eye doctor's family. My dad was an ophthalmologist, and I've actually never had this conversation with him. Um, I don't know how my dad would feel about it. I suspect my dad's a bit of an old school doctor. He's since retired uh, a number of years now, and so I suspect that red light therapy is outside of the scope of what he learned and what he knows, and so he'll probably think it's he probably doesn't have an opinion on it because he doesn't know anything about it. That's my guess. He's usually pretty open to things like he's a supporter of mouth tape. Like when I started Hostage Tape, I was really nervous that my dad was going to be really critical of Hostage Tape and think it was um, stupid. But he ended up telling me that he actually would wear a he would take tape and use it in a different way to keep his mouth shut, so he was nose breathing at night. So I thought that was really interesting. But so Andrew Huberman, Dr. Andrew Huberman, has talked about this quite a bit. Red light therapy in the eyes, and then I'm a huge follower of Joe Rogan. Obviously, Joe Rogan's a big supporter of ours. He just shouted us out on his podcast with Bert Kreischer just the other day, and so the Joe's talked about this quite a bit, where he'll sit in the morning and look at red light, and he claims for himself that his eyesight has gotten a lot better for him too. So that's something I've been doing. I can't speak to whether or not it's helped my eyesight or not. I don't know. I haven't really paid enough attention to it, I guess. But also, I mean, maybe my eyesight's not as bad. Although I'll say this, I'm 46 years old. I am getting older, and I've gotten to the point where when I've got my phone in my hand or I've got a book or something this close to me, I take my glasses off and I'll look at my phone or I'll read something like that now. I can't keep my glasses on because I have trouble focusing with them on, and so I'm always taking them off. So I'm in the habit of I take my glasses off and I put them on my head like this, so then I've got easy access to them and I don't lose them or put them down somewhere. So then I can put them right back down on my face when I'm ready to go. But the other thing about red light therapy is that the the I don't know if there's been a ton of studies done on this stuff. I don't know that, but everything I hear from experts like Huberman and all of these guys who are way more credible about this stuff than I am, they all say that there's properties in the red light that get deep into the skin, into like our, DNA, that is doing something to our cells in a kind of magical way. It's doing this recovery process. It's like the cells deep in our body love this red light and they soak it in. It's kind of like, I think we need sunlight, right? We need sunlight. It's good for us. It helps us feel good. It gets us vitamin D. It helps these processes in our body happen. And I think red light is the same thing. There's something in red light that is doing that same process in our cells. And so now, and again, red light therapy is one of those things that I think you have no idea. You kind of have no idea if it's actually helping you. It's not like you sit down, you do a 10-minute red light therapy session, and then you get up and you're like, oh my God, I feel amazing. Like, you really don't have that experience. And so it's not like when you mouth tape. When I mouth taped for the first time, I couldn't believe how I felt. I felt amazing, right? And then I feel considerably better every day. And then I maintain the standard of how I feel and how I sleep now that I'm mouth tape. That's obvious. That was an easy way to feel a difference. But red light therapy, I have no idea if it's helping me or hurting me. I really don't know. Like, something I probably could have done was maybe take a picture of myself prior to when I wasn't doing red light therapy, and then now that I've been doing red light therapy, like, see the difference between the two. Like, that might have shown me something, but I just don't know. I'd like to think and I'd like to believe that, look, it's an easy thing for me to do. It's I'm sitting down on the floor every day for a period of, an hour as I do my stretches and my different things that I do in the morning. So it's an easy thing. It's easy to do. It's easy to have into my routine. And if it's going to help me, awesome. Great. if it doesn't actually help me and I'm just sitting in front of a red light, flashlight, whatever, right? No harm, no foul. So, but it makes you wonder like, there's enough research out there, there's enough people talking about red light that I just, something on my gut tells me there's got to be something to it. Now, I think there's there's people out there who have taken red light therapy to an extreme to where they're now trying to apply red light therapy to all sorts of different ways they can sell and make money. Like having a red light cap that you put on your head to help with thinning hair, red light that you put in your nostrils that somehow help with when you're sick or something. So people are finding all these different weird ways to apply red light, which I think, okay, that's probably a stretch. But again, I don't know. But I am a believer. I'm a believer in red light therapy, 100%. Okay. Okay. Another trend. Let's talk about maybe sauna. Okay. Now, I use the sauna every single day. In fact, I just came from the gym where I did the sauna. I'm a huge believer in the sauna. Huge believer in it. And that is definitely one of those things where I feel like when I do the sauna, I can feel a difference in how I feel. And when I don't do the sauna, I definitely feel different. But I think the sauna is one of those things where it's you're putting stress on your body. I think you need to, like Joe Rogan talks about this all the time, of you need to do difficult things. And I think sauna is one of those things that you're putting your body through a difficult thing, and then your body responds. So you go through difficult things, difficult obstacles, right? Different stresses that you're putting your body through, and then your body responds in a positive way, a resilient way. And I think that's what a sauna is. I don't have an explanation for exactly what it's doing, but it's also, I like the feel of going into the sauna, going into the heat, sweating, right? Feeling like I'm sweating out toxins or something. I don't know if that's for real, but I like that feeling. And huge, definitely huge on sauna. Okay. Now, the next trend is cold plunging. Now, this is definitely it's had its moment, okay? Because obviously, Huberman has talked about cold plunging. Rogan definitely talks about cold plunging. Dana White, every time Dana White's going somewhere, he's always got a cold plunge set up in his hotel for wherever he is. This is something we could probably talk about too. This is Coke Zero. Um, we can talk about this in a bit too. This is a kind of a health trend that could be interesting, right? But cold plunging, I am in favor of it. I am a fan of it. I do think that there's some legitimacy to it because again, I think it goes back to making your body do tough things, making your body do hard things, and so there's something about even with your mind, right? Training your mind to do difficult, hard things is good for us. And that could be all the cold plunge is, right? But I do think there's something to the when you're getting in cold water and it's releasing things, your brain is releasing things in your body that then make you feel a certain way. And so I do think whether it actually has a health benefit of what that's doing, I don't know. But it definitely, you definitely feel this invigorated sense of like being alive when you get in a cold plunge and then you get out. Now, one of the things that I've been doing, I'm not really getting in. the cold plunge anymore. But what I tend to do is I'll go in and I'll do a sauna for about a half an hour. And then when I get out of the sauna, say at the Lifetime that I go to, we've got the sauna and then we've got they had these two giant hot tubs and they turned one of the hot tubs into a cold tub, which was awesome. It took way too long for them to do that, but they turned it into a cold tub. So I'll come out of the sauna and then I'll put my face into the cold plunge. Very, very morning routine, very Ashton Hall morning routine like to put my face into it. But I I am a big fan of that. I do feel like that's got properties, some sort of health properties on my face. 'Cause I'm getting old. I'm 46 years old, and so I do think that that does something. And I think that um, I've read somewhere that by putting your face in cold water, it's signaling something to your body that I don't know. I don't know exactly, but um, something there is happening, and I'm all for it. Because again, like think about it. It's not like it's not like I'm taking something, putting something into my body that is questionable if it's bad for you, right? Sauna, cold plunging, red light therapy. These are all things that um, I'm doing throughout the day that I don't think have negative consequences. I think there's only good things that can come out of those. And if nothing good comes out of them, then I'm not convinced that they're hurting me. So they're either not doing anything or they're definitely helping me in some capacity, for sure. Like if anybody wants, like put in the comments here, tell me what kind of trends or health things are you doing that maybe you question, you wonder if they're actually helping you or not. I'd be interested to know. But all right, so here we could talk about this. So you saw me, I'm drinking a Coke Zero right now, and this is definitely debatable whether this is healthy for me or not. And I'm a I love soda. I've always loved soda. I grew up a Pepsi guy. My dad was a Pepsi drinker, and so we ended up just drinking Pepsi. And so for the longest time, I I always drank soda, and then about I don't know 8 years ago, maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago, I finally stopped drinking soda because that sugar that you're taking in your body is so bad for you. It's like liquid fat, and it just trains your body to store it, and then you want to drink more. You want to keep drinking more and more of it. And um, Mike Dirt, oh dude, Mike Dirt, big fan, man, huge fan. We got a big rock star here. Love you, dude. But I stopped drinking soda, and I would say that was a big reason why I lost so much weight too. I used to be like 210 pounds, and then I lost all that weight, and and cutting out all the soda was a huge part of that, like just all that sugar. And so now what I'll do is I love Zevia. Zevia is a 0 calorie stevia soda, and that was like the way that I could substitute soda for a healthy version. And stevia is all the research tells me that stevia is healthy for us, and so I love my Zevia. My favorite flavor is root beer. And if any of you guys are Zevia drinkers, why don't you put in the comments, tell me what your favorite flavor is, or if you've ever tried Zevia. Um, but then recently, I've started to, Coke and Pepsi, and they've gotten more and more into the healthier options of soda now because I think more and more people are just really aware of what they're, what kind of soda and what they're drinking, what they're putting into their bodies. And so the only reason I've got I wouldn't normally drink Coke Zero, but I was at Home Depot. I was buying some lights. This is my TikTok. shop studio behind me, and I've got these lights. Dude, I'm telling you, these lights at Home Depot. Here, let me grab one of these. I'll show you guys. Okay. I love I love Home Depot. I mean, who doesn't? What guy doesn't like Home Depot? But over the holidays, we were in Home Depot, and I saw these lights. And so this is a light that's got a tripod base. Okay, it's got this tripod base that pops open, and then it's telescoping, and you can move it up, and then you can move the light around. And then the cool part is this light actually screws off like this, and then it's got magnets on the bottom, so you can actually stick this to something, and it stays put. Okay, and I bought these not for the reason you would think. Like you would think I would buy lights at Home Depot for the garage, you know, for my workbench. I bought them for when I podcast and I do TikTok shop and I do live streams. Because what I ended up finding was all the different like podcasting lights, they're kind of really cheaply made, and they're kind of difficult to work with. Um, and they don't really seem like they're made that well. I mean, all that crap you buy on Amazon is cheap anyways, unless you're going for a specific brand. And so when I saw these at Home Depot, I'm like, and I grew up. My dad was a huge tool guy, so we had all sorts of tools lying around, and so when I saw these things and I bought these, I'm like, oh, this could be perfect for lighting during when I'm live streaming. And I'm telling you right now, these things are phenomenal. They're fantastic. So if you need lighting for when you're doing any kind of live streaming or Zooms or whatever it is, dude, just go down to Home Depot and get some of these Husky lights. Okay, they come in like this little box, about this big. These things are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, and they're like 25 bucks, and they're rechargeable. So there's a little USB port right here that you can plug in and recharge them. But these things are so versatile. They're so awesome. So I had to go back and buy two more. I've got two of them that I've got standing up on the table. There's this table that I use for when I do the TikTok shop lives. So if you guys are interested, every usually every night around like 8 o'clock Central Time, I go live on TikTok shop, and I do a flash sale. So anybody watching, if you've never used Hostage State before and you're interested, right, and you don't know me, because usually if you know me and you want to try it, I love sending stuff out to people. But you go to TikTok shop, and the I do a flash sale that's only available when I do TikTok shop live. Okay, so bookmark that. Okay, if you go to TikTok, it's our hostage mouth tape handle, and that's where I do the our our TikTok lives. And so I needed to get two more because what I noticed on the streams was the lighting was great for me above the table, but then um, on the table right there. Oh, my IG. On the table, I have the the hostage tape in front on the table there to show the packs, right? To show what the product looks like. And it was really dark, and so I'm like, all right, I need to get more of these things. So I went in, and so annoying. I didn't do the do not disturb on my phone. Here we go. Okay. I've noticed something really weird. Every time when I'm on my phone, on my iPhone, and a call comes in, tell me if you guys notice this. I've got one of the newer iPhones, not the newest one, but the one just before the newest one. Whenever I'm on my phone and I'm looking at something or doing something on the internet and a phone call comes in, it's like the whole the data like completely shuts off. And then everything like every time. And so like right there, a call just came in and then the live stream like shut down on my Instagram on the phone. Weirdest thing. Super weird. Okay. All right, somebody's asking me, Alex, I've got a client who's going to add a mount tape SKU into their product mix. Dude, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to give you suggestions on mount tape. Sorry. I'm the biggest mount tape brand in the world for a reason, folks. Okay. I'm not going to tell you and give you a secret sauce on how you can create a competitor for me. I'm not going to do it. um, but again, these lights. Okay. So these lights, I got it so that it would shine. I'm going to put them on the floor so it would shine, light up, and help illuminate the front of the table where I've got the packs of mount tape and stuff. And so I'm gonna what I was gonna do is because I'm still learning TikTok Shop, um, the live. I love Gary Vee, and Gary Vee has talked about this quite a bit over the last year or two that he believes live selling has a huge future, and that so much of what like we're doing as brands that sell things is going to migrate to live selling. Because if you just look across the side of the world in China, how huge live selling is, it's it's only going to translate to us too. It feels like a lot of the things that they've been ahead of eventually end up migrating here to the US. And so I think it makes sense. And the reason I'm really bullish on it is that I think with the advance of AI and how much AI content is starting to flood our feeds, that people are going to crave and want authentic content. And I think it doesn't get more authentic than live streaming and then live selling, right? Because look, we don't watch TV really anymore. The only reason I watch TV is if I'm watching football, I'm watching live sports, or if I'm watching Netflix or something like late at night, if I'm not working or doing a live stream. Okay. And so people they're just not watching content like the same way that we used to growing up. And so they're watching more content on their phone, through TikTok, through YouTube, through Instagram, all these places. And so that craving of authentic content in the place that they're consuming their content, which is in their hand, I think is going to mean that live streaming and live selling is going to become really, really big. And all of these platforms, that's why I'm trying to do more and more of it. Is that all the platforms algorithms they're optimizing for that. And so if you can start to stream more, start to do more of that, and get good at it, then it's going to increase your reach. More people are going to start to watch you, pay attention to you, and you can get your message out there. And you can create a better connection with your followers, with your customers. And so I'm really big. I'm really big on streaming, on live streaming. And so that's why you're seeing me do this today. I'm trying to do more and more of it, trying to get better at just getting into the rhythm of getting on camera, talking to people, and then having a different purpose for each one of these. And this stream that I do right now that you guys are watching is it's just a brand stream. It's just to talk to you guys, for you to get to know me to get to know you. I can take questions, right? Answer anything that you guys want me to talk about, and then I'm going to talk about different topics that I kind of um, I have my AI prompt for me every day and like different things I could talk about, right? But that's the long-winded story about why I got these new lights. So if any of you guys want to get some awesome, like really pretty inexpensive lights, go down to Home Depot and get these husky lights. These things are awesome. They're so great. Another thing that I got, I love this thing. We're talking a lot about tools and hardware today. My dad would be proud. Is again when you go into Home Depot, what I love about it is, especially during the holidays, you walk into the store and right when you go in, they've got that row of all the little gadgets that they line up all the way down the main front of all the aisles. And I love walking down the row and seeing all the little gadgets that have come out that I might want to get, okay, that might interest me. And so another gadget that I found, I don't have it here. It's in my car. They've got this. I mean, it looks kind of like it's like the size of this. It's like the size of one of our tins, but it's a light. It's a flashlight that's the size of this, and it's this heavy duty. I mean, it feels like a gun. Like it's like made of all the materials like guns made of. It's like metal. It's got some high quality rubber around it, and everything on it's like super high quality. But it's this rechargeable flashlight, and it's got a clip on it, so you could clip it like on your belt or like in your pocket, and it's rechargeable. And then it's got these different modes to it that you can click. It'll flash. It has different colors because it's an LED light. All these different things. But it's so I can't tell you how handy it is to have a flashlight, right? Especially in your car. And the old Duracell like big long flashlights, like the MagSafe type ones, like obviously just aren't really realistic to like keep in the glove box of your car or in the center console. But I love that thing because it's rechargeable, it's super easy, it's small, it's really high quality, and I can pull it out, take it, and use it, and then keep it right in there in the console of my car. Love that thing, and it's husky. It's a husky little light. So, and then I bought one for my son to put in his car, so he's got one too. I don't think it's in his car though. I actually think it's sitting up in his room still. But love those things. So, okay. So let's get back. Let's focus on. So we were talking about different health trends, and I'd gone through all the different health trends that. Here, how about this? Let's talk about my morning routine. I've got a pretty interesting morning routine that a lot of people are usually pretty blown away by what I do. So let's talk about that. So every morning I get up usually around 5:30. Um, it's funny how my whole life I was not a morning guy. I was always up really really late, and then I would get up really really late. But the older I've gotten, the more I've realized that look, if I want to be successful, I want to be a successful man, a successful dad, father, husband, like all those things. I had to shift that priority and get up early before everybody else is up, before the family's up, get up early before the the markets are up, before customers are up, so that way I can come down and I can get me time done. I can take care of myself so that I'm ready to go to take care of everybody else. Right? It's like the old saying of, you're on an airplane, you got to get your air before you start trying to help everybody else. Right? So that's how I see this is I have to take care of me. I have to do the things that I need to do so that I'm 100% to then take care of everybody else I need to take care of. So I get up 5:30. I come down to my office, and I do have a habit of I'll check my computer really quick. Specifically, I'll check Facebook ads. For us, my Facebook ads. It's where I spend some of the most amount of our money, and it's the biggest lever for me. It's the biggest leverage point in the business where things can go either really really well or they can go really really bad. And so that's where I've got most of my focus is on how are our Facebook ads doing. So I'll get up in the morning, I come down, I'll check Facebook, just seeing how everything looks in the morning, how it's starting off, how is that going, or if I need to make any adjustments, I make them early in the morning. Because when you're running Facebook ads, what you don't want to do is you don't want to go in like middle of the day and then be tinkering around and changing, adding, doing things to Facebook, because by that point it's already kind of optimized for the day, and it starts to cruise and then gets moving. And so I don't want to get in its way. So rather I try to make any changes or do anything to Facebook very early on in the morning, so then it has a chance to make its adjustments and then start moving throughout the day and optimize. So I'll do that for a few minutes, and then I'll go down to the floor, and I've got this big blow up yoga ball that I have on the wall, and then I have a grounding mat. Okay, that's actually another health thing we could talk about. A health trend is grounding. I am a big believer in grounding. Okay, and if you don't know what grounding is, so I've got this mat. In fact, here I'll grab it. So this is a this is a grounding mat. So it's like this rubber mat. Okay, and then there's a wire here that is connected to the rubber mat, and then the wire plugs into the ground on an outlet. And the research tells us that when we touch the grounding, what it does is it helps, like, the term ground you. It's going to ground you. Okay, so there's things going on with the electrons and all these different things that I'm not smart enough to explain very well. It's not my area of expertise, but the research tells us that it's kind of like when you go out and you put your feet in the grass or in the dirt, and it grounds you, and it like you feel grounded and calm. And I think that's something that we as humans need to do. We need to do that every day. We need to touch grass, we need to touch the dirt, and it's a way to ground us, and then it like neutralizes any sort of weird energies that we have or that we've collected, right? Because that stuff is there, right? Positive, negative stuff, it's all there, it's all around us. And so the grounding mat, I've got it plugged in, and I drape it on the yoga ball, and then I sit down, and then I stretch. And I have to use a yoga ball to help me stretch because I'm not the most limber guy. And so having the yoga ball then helps push my back forward. I've got my legs spread. And then I've got the red light that I talked about earlier. I've got that on, this big, huge 3 foot red light. And I put that in front of me. So I'm stretching. I've got the grounding mat on, and I don't have a shirt on. So I've got the grounding mat touching skin. And then the red light is over me, on my face, on my body, and I'm looking into it, and then I'm stretching. So I'm multitasking multiple different things to help. And then usually what I'm also doing, I have this belief that when I'm watching content, when I'm watching video or something, I like to I like to I don't like to consume too much content versus produce content. So I like to be producing more. That's why I'm getting back into doing more streaming. I record a lot of video, I'm streaming, I'm doing the TikTok lives, I'm making Facebook ads, right? We're selling hostage tape. I'm constantly moving and I'm creating. Okay. And so what I don't want to do is I don't want to be sitting and consuming too much. Because if I sit down on a couch and I just watch Netflix and I watch a movie, that's consuming. There's a time for that. I think there's a place to sometimes shut your brain off and consume and just kind of check out and sort of like just like rest your brain. But I don't want to get into a habit of doing that too much, because then I feel lazy. I feel like I'm not working hard enough, and I'm consuming too much, and I'm not producing enough. I've trained myself now over the years. Like, look, when you're an athlete, like I've been, okay, you see here, We work so hard to produce, to create results, and then learn from our failures to then adjust and create more results. That when we're not working and we're not producing, we feel lazy. Like that's just the way we're wired. And so I found a new way to take that energy then and to channel it into other ways I can create and not consume. And so my point being, when I'm sitting down and I'm working on the stretching, the grounding, the red light on TV, I'll put YouTube up and I try to put up videos, podcasts, or documentaries, things that are teaching me something. So I'm consuming in the way that I'm actually educating myself. I'm learning information. So I'm not consuming with the idea of like I'm checking out and I'm just consuming for entertainment. I'm consuming for education so that I'm giving myself something that I can learn, whether it's learning more about ecom, it's learning more about Facebook ads, it's learning more about history, right? Like one of the things I love to do is I'll watch old NFL films, videos where I get to learn about different NFL players in history, or maybe it's the history of the Super Bowl, or it's the history of football, the NFL. It's something that's teaching me information that I can use for the content or the creation that I'm going to be doing. Because, I mean, look, talk to somebody like Joe Rogan, who does this for a living, right? Joe's a content creator and he's the biggest podcaster in the world. But I guarantee you, he'll tell you that he might struggle with finding new information that he can create content for. It sounds crazy, but it's not, right? When you have to be creating content, you need a constant stream of new ideas. And so, something that I'm sure Joe does is he's consuming documentaries, he's consuming podcasts, he's consuming information that is teaching him things and giving him ideas of content and creation that he can put out there. And that's the same strategy that I like to use is I try to consume so that I can create and produce, right? Usually if I'm consuming for entertainment, it's late at night. It's after I do my my TikTok lives. Like after the day, I've done all my work. I mean, I work 7 days a week. I'm at my desk working 7 days a week, and then when I'm doing after I do the TikTok, I'll break 6 ish whatever. Then we have dinner as a family, and then after that I come back down, and then I'll do the TikTok live stream around maybe like 8 o'clock, and then once I'm done with that after 9, then it's almost like okay, I can have like maybe an hour or so of I go up and maybe I'll put on Netflix or something interesting or whatever it might be that maybe catches my eye. Now, something that I will also do throughout the day that most people would think that I'm just consuming and I'm scrolling. When I'm at my desk, I will very frequently I'll pull up my phone and I will scroll through uh, Instagram or TikTok. And I'm not doing it for entertainment. I mean, I am entertained by it. There's certainly lots of funny, interesting things that I'll see, but I'm actually doing it. I'll scroll through as an exercise to see what's out there, to get inspired. And then when I see interesting posts or videos, I copy that and I put it into, I've got a Discord channel, an inspirational Discord channel that I take anything that I think is something I could do or use. I put it into that channel so then myself and the team can always go back to it later and look at all these different inspo ideas that I found. But that's definitely one of those things where I scroll again. I consume for ways that I can create later. Okay. I'd encourage everybody to try that. Try shifting how you consume and how you produce, and look at your life in that way. Are you producing or are you consuming? What does that balance look like? And that's something that I try to teach my son, that he's young and he doesn't understand it. He's consuming way too much. I think all kids do, and it's okay. That's okay to a point. But I'm trying to teach him to learn how to start producing more than he's consuming. Because if you want to be a high value man in this life, you want to be a high value person, especially as a man, right, in this world that we live in, you need to learn to produce. Your value as a man in this world is dictated by what you produce. And so that's something I try to focus on myself, is how can I continue to make myself better, and how can I continue to produce more value into this world and into what I do. Okay. Now, what I will also do is once I do some different stretches, I'll do the red light for like 10, 15 minutes. And then I turn it off and I put it off to the side. And then I do a handful of different types of leg stretches, right? Different ways. I also then I come up and I'll do different stretches um, on my chair when I'm up, right? Different ways of like getting my hips loose. Because as a 46-year-old, the older that I get, the more I worry that my hips are going to get less and less mobile. And so I feel like I have to do everything I can do to to stretch my hips, to move them around, and to push them in a way that I know I'm still going to be really mobile. Because I think if there's one thing that I don't want to have happen is I don't want to get old and then become immobile and I can't move around, because I think I would be completely miserable not being able to to move. I'm a pretty active guy, and so I want to be able to have that, to move around and jump around and run, do all those kind of things that I like to do. So then when I'm doing my different stretches, I then start incorporating. I do at least 100 push-ups every morning, and I do them in batches of 50. And so then I'll do 50 push-ups, and then I'll continue to stretch, and then I'll go back and I'll do the next 50. Okay. And then I've got a weighted ball. I've got a weighted med ball, it's like a 12-pound weighted med ball. So then I'll go down on the floor and I'll do like Russian twists, and I work on my core. I get that in because I notice, again, the older that I get, the more I worry that my lower back, is going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. Because I notice, like, if I'm standing for an extended period of time, my lower back starts to hurt quite a bit. And so I try to incorporate different things with my core. And one of the things I learned, in fact, Nsima from the Power Project taught me this, was that one of the ways that you combat lower back pain is not necessarily like doing straight up core work like we're used to seeing, but it's actually getting off plane. And so it's doing core work where you're not on plane, but you're getting out of plane. And so he does this thing where he uses a weighted rope, and then he swings it. And as he's swinging it, he's purposely getting his torso off plane like this and moving it around. And so then what that's doing is it's helping with all these different muscles to then um, work in a way that then alleviates the kind of back pain that you tend to get, because you're not challenging all the muscles that support your body in all these different ways. So I do that. And then what I try to get in, usually then by that time we're coming up around 8:30ish in the morning. I It sounds crazy, but I spend a lot of time just hanging out, I like to take the approach of when I'm up in the morning, I don't like to move fast. I don't like to go too fast. I like to just chill out, just start slow. I don't want to feel rushed at all. Okay. So I start slow, and that might take me, I might go for, you know, 2 hours. I'm sitting down there on the floor doing my thing for a long time. And then I'll get burpees in. I'll try to do anywhere from like 60 to 100 burpees where I'm moving up and down, up and down, up and down. And then I'll get those in. And then by the time, 8:30, 8:40ish rolls around, then I'm usually, depending upon if my wife is going to drive or not, I'll bring my daughter to school. Okay. And then it doesn't end. Okay. Then I'll bring her to school, and then I go to the gym. I go to Lifetime, which is down the street. And then at Lifetime, depending upon the day, usually what I'll do is Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I because I'm in Minnesota where it gets really really cold and icy, and I don't the older that I get, I don't I like to be careful about going out and running when it's icy out, because again the last thing that I want to do is I don't want to hurt my back or hurt me in a way that immobilizes me. I know it sounds like an old fogey, but I I had a I had an experience like a year ago where I did something to my back or my neck and I was like almost immobile, and I could not believe how like demoralizing it felt, the fact that I couldn't move. And so I'm very aware of just making sure I take care of myself in a way that I don't hurt my back or anything that so I can't move. So so I don't like to go out and run when it's like too icy out. So I'll go to the gym and I use I love the moment the momentum treadmills. I forget what they're called, but they're the ones that aren't motorized. But when you get on them and you move, and then it moves with the momentum of your feet, your movement. And so I'll get on there, and they're curved, and so I'll put a little bit of resistance going on, and then I turn around and I walk backwards, and so I'm pushing and I'm moving and I'm getting that backwards movement, and then I what I feel like that is such a better resistance sort of work for my legs as I get older, and it um, really gets my body sweating surprisingly. And it's not like I'm working that hard, but when I do that, I start sweating, man, like big time. Um, ooh, Schaefer music. Is this? Are you the rapper? Are you the Eminem rapper, dude? I think Schaefer. Tell me if you're still here. Tell me if that's you, man. I think you wear our nose strips too when you rap sometimes. But so I do that every Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and then sometimes on the weekends too. And then I'll go to down to the sauna. I get the sauna. What's up, dude? Awesome, I love it. Okay, so at every time I watch you and I see your videos, I'm sure this is a compliment. You tell me, but you totally remind me of Eminem, man. I'm 46 years old, so I grew up watching Eminem, on his come up, and so when every time I see you, you sound like Eminem to me. You have this Eminem look. So I don't know. Is that on purpose? Are you purposely like, was he your idol? Are you trying to emulate Eminem with what you're doing? So, but I love Eminem. I think Eminem is one of the most talented, genius rappers of all time. And it sounds crazy to say that because he's a white dude. He's a white dude who is a rapper, you know, and then just stepped into that like culture and like just took over. But I really do. I really do think Eminem is um, like one of the most ridiculously talented rappers of all time, hands down. The only thing about Eminem that I don't like is so much of so much of his music is so negative. Um, yeah, so you say, So I get that a lot, my dude. It's not on purpose. I've definitely been influenced by him, though Eminem is great. Is the goat? Yeah, cool. The thing about Eminem that I've always struggled with is I'm really aware and mindful of what I'm listening to and what I'm pulling in, and I find that if I listen to too much music that has a negative vibe to it, um, oh, okay, so you try to go. That's awesome. Okay, so more positive. Yeah, I find that if I'm listening to too much music that has a negative meaning or a negative vibe, then I don't feel good, And I think that affects us. I think that has a huge effect on just our subconscious and our brain. And so that's the only thing about Eminem that I don't like. I don't like to listen to too much Eminem for an extended period of time because then I almost feel like you just get like this negative aura about yourself because that's just him. He has a very negative like negative-ish, a way about him. But anyways, he was unreal. So, but yeah. So, anyways, all right. So I was talking about my routine. So then I go down, I do the sauna, and then so I'm in the sauna for like 30 minutes, and then I go and I do the cold plunge. I don't do I don't like get fully in the cold plunge, but I put my face in it. I do the old Ashton Hall morning routine, like face in the cold plunge thing. I do that, and then I leave and I'm out, and then I'm back home and I'm usually then at my desk, and then I get started on the day. And then on the Tuesday and Thursdays when I don't do like the cardio work, because in the summertime I'll go for a run. I'll usually try to get like a 3 to 5 mile run in the summer when it's not icy and snowy out. But I'll do that. But on the Tuesdays and Thursdays, then I'm doing the floor. I'll hit the floor and I'll do weight work. I don't push a ton of like weight around like I used to when I played. I try to do a lot more body stuff like pull ups, push ups, dips, like some barbell, like some free barbell stuff, but not. I don't squat anymore. I stay away from squat. I stay away from cleans. All the big huge Olympic lift stuff that like I used to do my whole life as a football player. I don't do that stuff anymore because again, I'm really mindful that as I'm 46 years old, I'm getting older. That when I hurt my back, I've hurt my back before doing like squat and cleans years ago. That I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, because when you're my age and you hurt your lower back, it like immobilizes you and it's demoralizing. So I said, all right, I can't do that anymore. So I need to focus on things that are more natural movement that I know I'm not going to potentially hurt myself by overstressing with too much weight. And so again, I'm doing treadmill work, walking backwards. I go for runs. But if I'm not going to run, I'll go for a long walk, right? And then if it's upper body stuff, it's body weight stuff, it's pull up stuff, it's barbell, free weight type things like that. So, but and then that's my morning routine. It's pretty. Oh, I didn't mention. So okay, let's talk about the supplements that I take. So part of that morning routine is there's there's a there's a bunch of supplements and things that I'm taking in my body because I only eat once a day. I do not eat breakfast. I don't eat lunch. I eat. I only eat dinner, right around that 5 6 o'clock time. And so there's a there's a bunch of vitamins and like I'm taking a probiotic, I'm taking vitamin D, I'm taking green supplements, I'm taking magnesium. I've got a whole bunch of bottles. You can see them right behind me here. This is like my table of all the different like things I take. My wife, she made me get rid of them. I used to have them up on the counter in the kitchen, but there's just so many of them that she's like, this is just too much stuff. Can you get rid of this? So I took it all and I put it down here on one of my desks behind me, so that way it doesn't clutter up the kitchen. But and then I take multivitamin. I take ashwagandha. I take niacin. some zinc, and uh, a bunch of that kind of stuff. Okay. And I take creatine every day, right? I think what's great about creatine isn't just for building muscle. Like we've been conditioned to think that you need to only take creatine for like building muscle as a when you're competing, you know. But I take it because apparently there's a ton of research on how it helps you cognitively. And so I take it for both. I take it to again help me so my body's good. I'm still able to like maintain or build a little bit of muscle, right? And it gives me energy when I'm working out. But then it also helps my brain, because I'm doing a lot of hardcore thinking, crunching numbers, or I need to be nimble when I'm on screen and I'm answering questions or I'm trying to be engaging with people on camera, especially if I'm doing like a TikTok live stream. So, so those are the supplements and things that I take in my body. But awesome. All right, folks, it's been about an hour here. Again, I'm a little bit later today. I'm about an hour behind where I am. I was at Home Depot getting the lights that I was talking about earlier. But I do this every day. So be sure to, if you're interested, keep checking this out. This is where I talk about anything. I can talk about brand. I can talk about, why I started this, any kind of stuff. It's about just getting to know you guys getting to know me, just kind of talking, shooting the shit. But then again, at night, right, I do the TikTok lives. I do the TikTok live selling, and that is where if you want to see it and you want to join me, tell everybody about it. But I do flash sales. I do flash sales of hostage tape every night on our TikTok shop. Okay, it's hostage tape, hostage mouth tape. That's our handle for TikTok at hostage mouth tape. So if you want to check out an amazing flash sale, I only do it on the TikTok live stream. So you can check that out. I'm probably going to do it a little bit earlier tonight because I want to catch people before maybe they go out for the night or do whatever they're going to do. But usually every night I do it around 7, 8 o'clock Central Time, somewhere around there. But so check those out if you want to check out the flash sales that we do. Okay. You're not going to get them anywhere else. You're not going to get them on the website. You're not going to get them anywhere. You're only going to get these flash sales on TikTok, folks. But awesome. I appreciate you. We'll catch you on the flip side.